So 10.4, we're going to talk about partial fraction decomposition. So we're going to take a rational expression, so a fraction with terms in it, and we're going to split it up into different parts of it. So it's called partial fraction decomposition. So in example 1, we're going to start, sometimes some of the questions you'll see on the homework say do not solve, some say solve. So we'll start this one by solving, and then we'll practice a few more just setting it up. So first thing we want to do is factor our denominator. What are two factors of -6 that add to -1? -3 and 2. Awesome. So we have x minus 3 and x plus 2. Now these are both going to be our denominators of our new fractions. You can put parentheses around it. You don't really need it because they're just separate in the denominator. Now on top, the order doesn't matter. So if you had x plus 2 and then x minus 3, that's fine. The first fraction is going to get an a, and the second fraction is going to get a b. We need to find out what a and b are. So when the question says do not solve, this would be how we leave it when it says do not solve. It just wants you to set it up, which would be this. We're going to solve this one all the way though. To solve, we multiply each fraction by the missing denominator. So a is going to get multiplied by x plus 2, and b is going to get multiplied by x minus 3. So you multiply by the missing factor. So now after we multiply by the missing factors, we're going to set up an equation. So part of our equation is the numerator on the left side and the numerators that we now have on the right side too. So we're going to say x plus 7 is equal to a times x plus 2 plus b times x minus 3. Now we want to figure out what two numbers make our two factors here 0. So if we set them equal to 0, we'd have x is equal to -2 and x is equal to 3. So we're going to plug those in. So I'm going to start by taking -2 and plug it into all of my x's in my new equation here, into this equation. So I have -2 plus 7 is equal to a times -2 plus 2 plus b times -2 minus 3. So -2 plus 7 would be 5. What's -2 plus 2? 0. And 0 times a would just be 0, so it goes away. Then we have b times -5, so -5b. Then we're solving for b, so we're going to divide both sides by -5. So b is equal to -1. Now we're going to do the same thing because we have to find an answer for a. So next I'm going to plug in x is equal to 3. So again, I'm plugging it into my equation here. So I have 3 plus 7 is equal to a times 3 plus 2 plus b times 3 minus 3. 3 plus 7 would be 10 is equal to 3 plus 2 would be 5a plus 3 minus 3 is 0, so the b goes away. So we're just solving for a here. So we divide both sides by 5. So a is equal to 2. Now we're going to take our a and b and plug them into a and b in our equation up here, in our partial fractions. So a was 2, so we have 2 over x minus 3 plus negative 1 over x plus 2. Now we wouldn't say plus negative 1, we would just say minus, because it's a negative 1, so it'd be minus 1. So just make sure when you plug it in, the A is going to go into the A and the B goes into the B. So on the next page, the denominator is already factored for us. So we can say A over x minus 2 plus B over x minus 5. Next, we want to multiply by what's missing. So A is going to get multiplied by x minus 5, and B gets multiplied by x minus 2. Then we want to set up an equation with our numerators. So we'd say x minus 14 is equal to A times x minus 5 plus B times x minus 2. Any questions so far? So next we want to plug in numbers that make our two factors here 0. So we would set them equal to 0. We'd get x is equal to 5 and x is equal to 2. So let's start by plugging in 5. So 5 minus 14 is equal to, what is 5 minus 5? 0. So the A goes away, plus B times 5 minus 2. So 5 minus 14 would be negative 9 is equal to 5 minus 2 is 3, so this would be 3B. To solve for B, we divide by 3. So B is equal to what? Negative 3. Now let's do the same thing. We're going to solve for A. So I'm going to take I'm going to take 2 and plug it in. So 2 minus 14 is equal to A times 2 minus 5 plus B times 2 minus 2. What's 2 minus 2? What's 2 minus 2? 0. So it goes away. So 2 minus 14 would be negative 12 is equal to 2 minus 5 is negative 3 times A. We're solving for A, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. So A is equal to 4. Any questions so far? All right, next we're going to take A and B and plug them in. So we have 4 over x minus 2. And then since B is a negative 3, we'd say minus 3 over x minus 5. All right, let's do the next one. Same thing, the denominator is already solved for us. So we would say A over x minus 3 plus B over x plus 5. Now we multiply the factors by what's missing, or the numerators by what's missing. So x plus 5 to the first one, and x minus 3 to the second one. And then we set all of our numerators equal. So 6x plus 14 is equal to A times x plus 5 plus B times x minus 3. Now we need to find numbers to plug in, so we set our two parentheses equal to 0. So we're going to plug in negative 5, and we're going to plug in 3. So I'm going to start by plugging in negative 5. So we have 6 times negative 5 plus 14 is equal to A times negative 5 plus 5 plus B times negative 5 minus 3. Negative 5 plus 5 cancels. We have 6 times negative 5 would be negative 30, plus 14 would be negative 16, is equal to negative 5 minus 3 would be negative 8b divide both sides by -8. B is equal to 2. Then we're going to do the same thing, plug in 3. So 6 times 3 plus 14 is equal to A times 3 plus 5 plus B times 3 minus 3. 6 times 3 would be 18 plus 14 would be 32 is equal to 3 plus 5 is 8, so 8A, and 3 minus 3 is 0, so the B cancels. Divide both sides by 8. A is equal to 4. Then the last step, we plug them in. So A goes into the A, so we have 4 over x minus 3. B goes into the B, so plus 2 over x plus 5. All right, the last two, we're just going to set it up and not solve. So let's start by factoring our denominator. How would we factor this? We don't have to multiply the first times the last. What else could we do? Awesome, we're going to take out our GCF, which is a 2. So we're left with x squared minus 6x minus 80. Oops, sorry. I forgot to divide by 2. It would be 3x minus 40 now. What are two factors of 40 that negative 40 that add to -3? -8 and 5. So this would factor into x minus 8 and x plus 5. So now when we set it up, 2 is a factor too. So we have a over 2 plus b over x minus 8 plus c over x plus 5. So on the homework, some of the questions just say set it up, don't solve. So if this question, these two questions say do not solve, this is how we'd set it up. Questions here? All right, last one, number 4. So same thing here. We need to factor our denominator. How do we factor x squared minus 4x?
Would you what?
Factor.
Factor. The same thing, x minus yx. Like substitution.
X squared minus 4x. How do we factor?
Factor that. Oh, you factor that. X squared minus 4x.
Tomas, want to help him?
Would you take out an
Oh,
X?
take an x, yeah.
Take out an x. What are we left with?
The Y Mateo was talking.
X minus 4. All right, how do we set it up? What do we do next?
You go Mateo.
X squared plus 12x plus 12 on the top.
No.
What are you asking me to do?
Set it up. What we've done in every single question. So x is going to go on the bottom. X minus 4 goes on the bottom of the other one. What goes on top?
The first one.
A and B.
X squared.
Thank you. A and B. That would be our answer.